Aew Dynamite starts with a tag team battle royal, and at the end of the match, Matt Jackson eliminates John Silver, then Kyle O'Reilly quickly throws Matt over the top rope and wins the match, so Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish are added to the tag team title match at Revolution. After the match, the Bucks get in Red Dragon's face, then Hangman Adam Page comes out and attacks Red Dragon, and Adam Cole comes out to fight Hangman, but Red Dragon pull Cole out of the ring before he gets hit with the buckshot lariat. Then Hangman gets on the mic and pretty much says he's going to beat Cole at Revolution. MJF comes out and tells an emotional story about CM Punk being his hero while he grew up, but Punk left him in 2014 when he left everyone else, and MJF promised to himself that he'd become the best in the world, and at Revolution MJF won't quit because that would make him no better than Punk. Then Punk comes out and asks MJF if all of that was true, and MJF, with a tear rolling down his face, says it's true and leaves the ring. Malakai Black and Brody King versus Pac and Pentagon or Scooter, with Alex Abrahantes in his corner, and Pentagon wins with a roll-up on Malakai. After the match, Malakai goes to put the shovel to Pentagon's throat, but the lights go out, and when they come back on, Buddy Matthews is in the ring and he attacks Pac and stomps Pentagon on a steel chair. Eddie Kingston comes out and so does Chris Jericho, and there's security in the ring. Eddie says, "This is sports entertainment, I don't do this, I'd rather just fight you, Chris, so go down the road to Stamford." Chris says this will actually be entertaining and talks about Eddie's long road getting to the big time, and says Eddie is jealous of Chris. And Eddie says he just wants to fight Chris at Revolution, and Chris says he's got the match, and if Eddie wins he'll shake Eddie's hand and tell him he has his respect. And Eddie says he doesn't want the Chris Jericho that was in the Mimosa match with Orange Cassidy, he wants the Chris Jericho that was the first world champion in AEW, and the one that Chris's close friend Levesque hated. And Chris says, "My opinion of you is the same you have of yourself, you're a loser and you can't win the big one." Backstage in a staircase where all the big meetings happen, Matt Hardy says he and Andrade and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin and Sting in a Tornado Trios match at Revolution. Ricky Starks with Will Hobbs in his corner with Taz on commentary versus number 10 from the Dark Order, and Ricky wins with a spear. Jade Cargill with Smart Mark Sterling in a corner versus the Bunny Alley, and during the match Matt Hardy comes out and tosses Alley brass knuckles, but Sterling throws Jade the TBS title and Jade hits the knuckles with the title, and Jade wins with Jaded. After the match, Jade says "who's next?" and the crowd chants Goldberg. Then Tay Conti comes out and says "I'm going to beat your ass, bitch." Then they start to fight and Alley gets involved and Tay hits a Tay KO on Alley. Then Jade hits a bicycle kick on Tay, and NJ comes out with a steel chair to make Jade leave. Keith Lee has a backstage interview, but Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs interrupt it, and Ricky says, "Hello, Keith Lee, how are you?" imitating Keith's voice. And Ricky says, "Here you start all over, and you need to mind your P's and Q's." Then Hobbs has a stare at Keith. Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson in the main event, and Bryan wins with a triangle chokehold. After the match, Bryan says "that's exactly what I wanted to see." Then 2.0 Matt Lee and Jeff Parker attack Bryan, and John Moxley comes out and drops 2.0 while his entrance music plays, and hits a paradigm shift on Garcia. Then Bryan says to Moxley, "You have your match at Revolution, but don't be surprised if you're the only one bleeding." We'll see you next week for the next Dynamite highlight.